Hello and welcome to today's episode of Podcast Goodness. I am your host, Christian Peter, and today in the Listing Agent Accelerator, we're going to be going over exactly that. How to accelerate your income. How to double your income in 5 easy steps. Stay tuned if you want to hear more. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. As I mentioned, I'm Christian Peter with Dark Horse Commercial, and this podcast episode of Listing Agent Accelerator is based around how to double your income. Now, by the way, at home, go ahead and raise your hand. How many of you would like to double your income? I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening, their hand is up. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to give you several strategies, right? 5 strategies, in fact, that you can use to double your income. Okay. And what it really comes down to, it's not necessarily you have to reinvent the wheel. Chances are you're probably already doing some of the right things, but if you want to double your income, you're going to have to start doing more of the right things on purpose. You guys with me? Okay, cool. So where we go. Everybody comes to me and says, oh, how do I double my income? How do I double my income? Very easy. Okay. Work twice as many hours. Oh, really? Oh, it's that simple, right? Think about it. If a store is open twice as many hours, guess what? In theory, they're going to get twice as many customers. They're going to make twice as much money. However, if you are watching this, you probably don't want to work harder. You're probably looking to work smarter. So that's what we're going to talk about. But not necessarily all of our hours throughout the day are created equal. Here's what I mean. Most people do some of the right things a few hours of the day, right? The one thing that you can do to move the needle the most, right? There's a book by Gary Keller, and it's a fantastic book. And if you have not read it, I highly suggest you read it. But it's called The One Thing, right? And then basically the premise of the book was basically, what is the one thing that you could do in your business or in your life that by doing it and doing it really, really well, it makes everything else just easier. Everything else will basically more or less kind of fall into place. And with the brokerage model that we teach in terms of going out, getting listings, selling listings, cashing checks, right? The one thing that you can do that's going to move the needle the most is going to be prospecting, right? I don't care. You could flub most of your day, right? But if you can nail your prospecting, it's going to create a constant stream of opportunities for you in your business on a daily basis. So you don't have to necessarily work double the hours, but you would have to double your prospecting time. So for most people I speak to, one of the very first questions I ask them when I'm talking to an agent that's interested in learning about our coaching program, I say, okay, tell me about what your lead acquisition looks like. And the very first thing they say is, well, I do this, I do that, sphere of influence, blah, 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 referrals, blah, blah. Okay, are you doing any outbound dialing? Yeah, 5 or 10 a day, right? Most people are on the phone because they haven't kind of hit the income level that they want. So one of the fastest ways to do that is just to double the amount of outbound prospecting. Now, here's the thing. You could dial 500 people with the wrong message and 500 of the wrong people, and it's not going to get you anywhere, right? So if you're doing prospecting the right way already, doubling your prospect time is the fastest way to double your income, okay? So if you were prospecting for 30 minutes a day, make it an hour a day. If you're prospecting 45 minutes a day, make it 90 minutes a day. If you were to just duplicate the amount of outbound prospecting that you're doing, you're going to double the amount of opportunities, and the double the amount of opportunities is going to double the amount of income in your pocket. Very straightforward, okay? So that's number one. It's not necessarily doubling the hours, it's doubling the prospecting hours. Very, very important. Now, next. When you're reaching out to people, okay, think of it like a funnel, okay? You reach out to people, you get through to them, okay? Once you get through, you book a meeting. Once you book a meeting, you try to take the listing. Once you take the listing, you sell the listing, right? Very straightforward. So the next step is once you're putting double the amount of dials in, okay, the next step would be getting through to more people, right? Because if the tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, did it even fall, right? So you could call the wrong phone number 1,000 times. And if you don't get the owner on the phone of the property that you're going after, guess what? You're never going to be able to conduct business with that person. So getting through more often, okay? And then what's kind of the best way of doing that is to increase the quality of numbers that you're dialing, right? Don't chintz on numbers. If I could give you any piece of advice, most people are like, oh, well, I found this free search online. Oh, I Googled the person, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my office gives us this free software. Usually the quality of the data is worth what you pay for it. Now, I'm not saying you have to spend a lot of money, but one of the sources that we utilize is $1.25 a record. I can find out where your granny lives for $1.25 a record. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but the point is, right? For $1.25 a record, we have some Fiverr freelancers that do it even cheaper, like 10 cents a record. The point is, it's totally okay to pay for numbers, because if you, instead of getting through to 30% of people, if you were to get through to double the amount of people, if everything was equal, instead of getting through to 30%, you got through to 60%, guess what? It's going to double your opportunities, double your listings, double your sales, double your income. With me? Very, very straightforward. Again, this is a funnel. This is a funnel, folks. Whatever you put in the top, some percentage comes out the bottom. So step one is doubling your reach out, doubling out your time of reach out. Okay. Step two is get a hold of twice as many people. The best way to do it is with better quality data. Don't just try to Google somebody. Don't just try to go to their company website. Don't just try to call their secretary. Guess what? They're called gatekeepers for a reason. Okay. The third one is to get more appointments. Now, for those of you that are picking up the phone and reaching out to sellers, kudos to you. Love it. Awesome. You're on the right track. But if you're reaching out and aren't delivering a specific message to a specific person for a specific reason, you are basically committing random acts of violence, right? And we say that jokingly, right? But at the end of the day, you need to be reaching out to the right person at the right time with the right message. Here's what I mean. One analogy I love to use is like, consider yourself like a doctor, right? And all you want to do is help sick people, okay? Now, you could walk up and down Main Street and talk to 500 people, and throughout that course of time say, hey, are you sick? Hey, are you sick? Hey, are you sick? And sooner or later, you're going to get a handful of people that are sick and that you can help, right? Or would it be smarter for you to reach out, to sit outside the emergency room, right? And as the ambulances are pulling in and pulling people off a stretcher and they got an IV stuck in their arm, would it make more sense for you to say, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, sir, are you sick? Can I help you? Right? Which do you think is a more efficient use of your time? Because time is the one non-renewable resource we all have, right? So, and frankly, the people that make the most amount of money, right, which is what we're here to talk about, are the ones that utilize their time the most efficiently. So that's the next thing to think about, okay, is how do I reach out to the right people with the right message, right, on purpose. Okay, so you need to have a script. You need to have a conversational framework. You need to know why you are reaching out to them. And so you need to profile the right people. So the way to get more appointments is increase your ability to have a conversation, a scripted conversation that leads to a meeting. Okay, if you're just shooting from the hip every time, you're never going to be able to control the result. Right. Whereas if you're driving down Main Street, sometimes you take a detour, but you always get back to Main Street. You know where you're heading, and the end goal is to wind up with a listing appointment. Okay. Next up, closing more sales. Right. So after you get the listing, to close more sales, right, you have to be able to work with better buyers. You have to take better listings. Part of taking better listings is pricing properly your listings, right? You could take 1,000 listings this year, but if you do not have the right amount, the right pricing on it, it's going to sit and sit and sit, because a lot of people think, oh, there's a greater fool out there that's going to just pay some ridiculous number. No, just because the seller's retirement plan is $2 million doesn't mean the property is worth $2 million. It's not how it works. And oftentimes that's how they price things. They're like, well, I want $2 million to retire. I'll just throw my building out on the market for $2 million. Doesn't work that way, right? So again, you want to make sure that the listings that you do take, you are pricing properly. Very, very important. And the better you price your properties, the faster they're going to sell. Now, just to take a step back, right? When you're going to these listing presentations, if you do not have a scripted listing presentation, okay, you're going to be leaving money on the table. You need to have a framework. You need to know, you need to be have the same presentation each time, so that you know that you think of it like you're bringing someone on a tour, right? And you want to make sure you show the nice parts, but you stay away from the ugly parts, or the parts that are not to your favor, right? So if you're showing someone a tour of your house, maybe you show the living room with the pretty furniture. Maybe you're showing, a bedroom, right, where the bed is nice and made and decorative pillows. You're not going to show them the garage where all of you throw all the junk. You're not going to show them the closet where you have all your stuff. You're not going to show them the basement where you have all your Christmas ornaments, right, or whatever. So the same thing goes with a listing presentation. And I'm speaking metaphorically now. With a listing presentation, what it allows you to do is control the conversation, control where the conversation is going, because you just don't know. People can pull you off, but the more you are guiding, the more people will follow. Okay. So you need to take the lead. Okay. You need to be alpha. And alpha doesn't mean dominant, it means leading the pack. Okay. So when you are leading the conversation, you are in control of the conversations. He or she who is asking the questions is in control of the conversation. So you need to have a listing presentation which is scripted and moves the conversation along a certain path, so that you can guide it down the path that is of your choosing, which is getting them to be persuaded to list with you at your price. Okay, good. And then finally, once you're listing more properties, you're getting more sales because you're pricing them properly. The last piece is backfilling your pipeline with higher priced properties, right? If let's say your average price property is, I don't know, 700,000. If as you're closing these properties, the next listing you go after, make your minimum 750 or 800. And if you're always doing that over time, all things being equal, you're going to see an increase in your income over time. All right, make sense? So what I wanted to impress upon you is any one of these things, if you doubled them, you're going to make more money. If you doubled your amount of dials, you're going to make double the amount of money. If you get through to twice as many people, you're going to make twice as much money. If you book twice as many appointments because you're better with your scripts, you're going to make twice as much money. If you take twice as many listings because you're better with your listing presentation, you're going to make twice as much money. If excuse me, if you close twice as many sales because you're pricing them better, you're going to make twice as much money. And as a bonus, number 6, if you continue to backfill your pipeline with bigger and bigger deals, you're going to make more money. So any one of these on their own will double your money. Guess what? What if for each of them, you just did them 20% better, right? Follow my logic. 20% more dials, 20% better contacts, 20% more appointments converted to meetings, right? Because you're better at your scripts, 20% better pricing, 20% better listing presentation, and then 20% increase in your minimum sales. Add all those together and you're going to more than double your income, right? So it's very, very important, folks. When you have a process to your business, when you have a business model, and our business model, again, is reach out to folks, have a conversation with them, have a listing presentation, take the listing, sell the listing, cash the check, right? That is our process. So when you have a process like that, you know where to tweak, you know where to analyze. If you're tracking your numbers every day on a daily basis, you will also know where your weaknesses are. Okay, if this is working and this is working and this is working, but this isn't really working, time to fix this one. You make this as good as the rest, guess what? The whole chain gets stronger when you fix the weakest links, right? So very, very important. If you want to double your income this year, make sure you get better at the different parts of your business. And there's 5 basic parts to this business. If you get 20% better at it, your income is going to be twice as big. Okay. Thank you so much for dropping by, folks. If you found this information interesting, go ahead and like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're following us. And if you're watching us on the other platforms, make sure you hop into our Facebook group, www.commercialsalesforagents.com. The fastest way for you to start learning skills so you become a commercial listing agent is to learn the skills from someone who has already done it. No sense in reinventing the wheel. There's no bonus points for getting fancy. Learn what someone else did and do that, and you'll likely have a similar result. If you really want to take and turbocharge your business this year, the first quarter is just about over. Reach out to us, reach out to our team, either link in the comments below, and someone from our team will reach out to you, because at the end of the day, if you want to move faster, learn from someone that has done it. We have a 6-month coaching program we would love to talk to you about and see what we can do for your business. If this is the year for you to become a commercial listing agent, we can show you how to do it. And 180 days from now, you could be in the position where you don't even recognize your business. You could be a listing monster. Okay. So you want to take your next commercial listing or your first commercial listing using our process in 30 days or less, go ahead and comment below and someone from our team will reach out to you. Thanks, folks, for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So really appreciate your time and your attention. And I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Talk to you soon.